Итак, всем привет! Продолжаем проходить Шерлока. У нас осталось буквально несколько квестов. Я думаю, мы сегодня можем пройти уже игру. Ну вот тут несколько побочек. Можем, в принципе, с них начать, а потом пойдем по основному. Так, погнали. Где-то здесь было, по-моему. Угу. Так.
Unholy howls keeping you inside at night? Luigi can help. All ghosts gone. Meet on southern pier of the Silverton port. Donations gratefully accepted.
Ну, пошли
This
посмотрим.
town loves the supernatural, but all I see is another scam to disprove.
The world shrivels under a skeptic's eye. That's why you're so sullen, Sherry. You leave no room for delight in the magical.
I delight in making the unknown known. Let us begin by asking someone about the poster and then pay this Luigi a visit to the port. Do you know anything about this?
If somebody learns I've cooperated with the police, we'll both be in trouble.
Could you help me?
Oh, every story has a price. You're lucky I'm telling you this for free.
Someone is playing on people's ignorance and fear.
Or someone is bravely going toe-to-toe with an otherworldly evil to protect the innocent. Not the hero people deserve, but he's the one they need.
Может еще что-то скажешь мне? О, ладно.
Excuse me, just one question.
Interesting. But I've never heard of it.
Is this familiar to you?
I'd rather be safe than sorry. I won't talk to you.
Oh, I am bored. Call me when you find the answer.
Not much brandy was spilled when the bottle broke. Someone had drunk most of it already. Not enough blood for a murder, but plenty to suggest fists were flying in a collie shangles. I wonder if Luigi made it himself.
I reckon the ghost is responsible for all this mess.
Don't jump to conclusions. Until we locate any evidence to the contrary, we shall continue to exclude the supernatural. Let me concentrate, John. The ghost hunter's stand was here. Someone stormed up angrily.
Let me take it from here. It was the ghost of Cordona, a horrific being, formless, with evil eyes and glassy skin that shimmered like a nebula. It lurched towards its foe.
Так, это вот этот вот, видимо, Луиджи. Вот этот чувак. Это.
No, John, it was human. We're staring at the evidence of a scuffle between men.
A little imagination never hurt anybody.
If a mark realizes they've been had, that the fear was baseless, the money defrauded, they will likely return to voice their displeasure. And thus Luigi took a beating. Fools should have at least moved locations between scams.
Не Луиджи идиот, а тот мужик, который дал ему денег. Что не понимал, что к чему. Ой.
After the attack, he fled bloodied and bruised.
Бедный.
Looks like he crawled that way.
Господи. Каждый зарабатывает как может. Но так бить не обязательно. Если это не бандит, конечно.
The empty bottle suggested intoxication. This vomit confirms it.
Well, if you were tailing supernatural creatures for a living, wouldn't you start drinking?
Thanks to you, I am often forced to tail the supernatural, and yet I'm still sober. Mostly. There's a bottle missing. After expelling all the alcohol from his stomach, it seemed he was compelled to replenish it.
Perhaps because booze eases the pain of his lonely and dangerous life as a ghost hunter.
You need to stop reading the Penny Dreadfuls.
Самое интересное, что это он сам себе говорит. То есть это как борется с ним вот такое еще детское, наивное тяга к приключениям, и вот серьезно Шерлок Холмс, которым он будет потом. Прикольно.
He threw the bottle here. I think we must be near his hideout.
Maybe we just leave, Sherry. There is no need to disturb the ghost hunter from his beauty sleep.
Looks like an appropriate home for a ghost hunter.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Donations, one presumes. Handcrafted, actually rather beautiful work. An eerie and unsettling sound. The painter definitely has an aesthetic. So this is where all the money was going. So you see, John, nothing supernatural, just a drunken lowlife fooling superstitious sailors for a living. You can't argue with the truth. The truth will out no matter what one does. You can embellish it all you like, but you're just delaying the inevitable.
Well, he can delay it no more. After what happened at the port, this scam won't work again.
Так, это мы выполнили. Что у нас дальше? Ну, идем посмотрим. Старый город Арна-стрит. Скарлетт. Старый город.
harem of the Silver Hand, the pirate with a golden heart. I told you I remembered him.
Hey Sherlock, I'm up here. Guess what I've found? A riddle, and it's about a treasure. Listen to this.
What? John, you've surpassed yourself.
Ой, ну пошли. Так. Если Ever Road, Crooked Street. Я надеюсь, это в этом районе.
Come on, Sherry. This is just like the old days. Sherlock and John on a pirate's treasure adventure.
Еще раз, я уже забыла. Ever. Есть. Вот где-то здесь. Так, вот это мечеть. Мы нашли. Вот.
May I ask for your assistance?
Sorry, but I never heard of this.
Вон колодец. Это перекресток улиц или может быть ниже? Может быть здесь? Но если мы пойдем сюда, мы здесь не увидим никакого колодца. Правильно? Да, вроде там ничего нет. Или есть? Так, ну тут тупик. Боже, я вообще не там. Обалдеть. Конечно, ничего не найду. Жаль. Тебе плохо? Возможно, здесь. Смотрим. Так, да, это здесь. Мечеть видим. Идти налево до конца.
Merhaba.
Интересно.
Merhaba. Nasılsın?
Вот. Да.
So the treasure is real, but tell me, John, how did you even guess there would be something on top of the monument?
Didn't I ever tell you about my psychic abilities? I should have. I even know where we ought to go next.
Ну так скажи. Развалины. Так, здесь, по-моему... там, где у нас были раскопки, но они никак не отмечены. Вот. Вот. Развалины. Так, на всякий случай поставлю метку. Смотрим, что там. Жалко, конечно, что он не умеет ни прыгать, ни карабкаться. Я понимаю, что это не того сорта игра, но для меня почему-то игры такого плана, где персонаж не умеет прыгать, вот кажется, как будто бы они неполноценные. Что, так быстро? Где? Надо же, сразу завернули и вроде как что-то нашли. тайник. Где-то здесь. Где-то здесь. Наверное, что-то связано с этим судном разбитым. Арка. Арка. Вот это арка. Точно. А я думала, что-то связано с... все-таки со строениями. Люди. Угу. Есть. Двигаем. Так, ну нам дали намек, что там не деньги, что-то другое. Могучее дерево у старых руин. Старых руин.
I always admire the way you notice such details.
In such moments, I often recall Mother's voice teaching us of the importance of the smaller details. The world hangs on small hinges, John.
Even the most chaotic miracle becomes sequential when you take a closer look.
I'll remember.
Старые руины. Может быть, это? В принципе, это пока что единственное подходящее место, которое можно назвать руинами. Ну, кроме этого. Ладно, пошли посмотрим. Императорский акведук. В общем, если пишут «дерево могучее», может быть, это действительно дерево. Я не думаю, что подразумевают что-то другое под этим. Потому что, честно говоря, я даже не могу представить, что можно подразумевать другое, кроме как дерево. Под деревом. Это же не вышка никакая, не... Дерево не здесь случайно? Нет. Что ты так глючишь? Пец. Может быть, в этой стороне здесь вроде тоже были какие-то руины. Что это? Слоник. Будто место, видимо, нашли. Голиаф. Классно. И не здесь. И не здесь. Если я здесь ничего не найду, я вернусь обратно в то место, где мы уже были. Потому что совсем ничего нет. Может, это дерево темное? Нет? Здесь я ничего не вижу. Так, где? Вот это что ли? Ага. Если Джон там стоит, значит где-то здесь. Отлично. Ха! Инструмент Шерлока Холмса.
Is this Mother's magnifying glass? How did it end up here? What happened?
Sherry, you really need to learn to let miracles happen. The whole world is one big, unresolved, chaotic miracle.
But they will become sequential if you take a closer look. I do remember what Mother told us, but that explains nothing.
Just let things happen, all right? Besides, this little miracle will look perfect in our manner, don't you think?
Видимо, в детстве спрятал он один. Может быть, это и есть аббатство? Или вот? Ну, нет. Еще раз улица. Торквис Лейн. Торквис Лейн. Не вижу, не вижу. Есть. Где-то здесь. Блин, вот понять бы, где это аббатство, мне было бы проще. Тю. Значит, наверное, вот здесь. Или с этой стороны. Или с этой стороны. Ладно, будем бегать. Угу, да. Пробуем переодеться.
Welcome, sir. I do hope you enjoy your...
Enjoy the evening, sir. There is still plenty of time before the grand finale.
All right.
Современное искусство, короче.
What if I write an article about these people here? Can you help me gather information about Cordona's elite?
Do you know what was here before Manchio's family bought it?
That's what I like about this party. Bring me more dirt, Sherry. One more piece. Curtains do not guarantee privacy.
And you still need a crack, despite being ethereal.
Ты типа здесь главный? Или просто сидишь?
I need a rest from my insatiable wife.
Sherlock! Friend! I
Как он
wasn't
его
sure
узнал?
you'd come.
Werner, I see you are not yourself.
The more time you spend here in Cordona, the more I feel it my duty to bring you into our world and show you all we have to offer.
And what is on offer today?
Pleasure, indulgence, relief, and relaxation. You've earned some time for yourself, have you not?
Those who know me would say I'm incapable of it.
Nonsense. I refuse to believe there is anyone permitted to know Sherlock Holmes.
You may be right.
Then free yourself from inhibition and expectation. The night is young, and so are the guests. You should try to enjoy both. It's not healthy for handsome men to spend every night alone, and certainly not in a house filled with such melancholic memories.
I must admit, my travels have proven more taxing than expected. I'm less confident in my life and myself. A time of relaxation seems a distant dream.
So can I tempt you with a physical aid to your moral consolations? There's wine, of course, and something to smoke, or perhaps an artificial paradise? Yes, something more spiritual, a potentiator to sharpen the mind. A 7% solution of, well, that'd be telling, but you must try it.
My mind already operates at a far higher level than most. I struggle to believe anything could improve it. My ultimate duty is to provide the world with truth, and I do that perfectly well as is.
Duty? You've never cared about that before.
Of course I do. Exposing a lie, revealing a fact, that is a moral responsibility.
That's not morality. Morals are what happens afterwards when truth collides with consequence. Do you ever follow up on cases you solved? Do you ever see what happened next, visit the victims, ensure justice is served in the courts? And how do you choose where to direct your attention? Are there not deserving causes to which your brilliance could be applied but isn't?
You ascribe me more power than I possess. I have a narrow skill set and work within that mandate. What occurs afterward is irrelevant.
With every action or inaction, you place a finger on the scales of morality. Many in the city would see you as abdicating your responsibility.
I haven't.
Not me, of course. Morality is subjective, just like truth. There is little to be gained from indulging in it, and far better things to indulge in. Now I must insist on easing any burdens I've placed upon your shoulders. Show yourself a kindness, and try this rather delectable concoction.
If this solution truly does assist with thinking, then well, perhaps it would be puerile to overlook an opportunity to study it. I'll take it with me.
Yes, Sherlock. Very good. And now, our evening begins in earnest. I just remembered. I'm sorry, Sherlock. My mind's delightfully impaired. Please take this key. It opens the altar room, past the library.
Pardon? Altar room? What now, Werner?
Go quickly and find our Fabio. Only you can make him talk. I'll join you in a minute.
Так вот, кто подсадил Шерлока на наркоту. Да. Так, и что за ключ? Что он открывает? Шепчетесь? Нет.
Manchos had to enforce the masks. Manchos had to enforce.
I'll pin them down, Biscoop. Thank you, Sherlock.
Чего это был спор, я даже не знала об этом.
My goodness, Sherlock. They made a blood fountain.
No, John, it's definitely not blood, just wine. Cahors at a guess. Well-known and recent plays to keep up to date with the current trends. These medieval botany and chemistry books look even more satanic than the occult ones. Romantic poetry and prose. Someone's in touch with their feeling. Codex Orchis. Why does this occult book sound like a flower?
My God. Was he here this whole time?
Я понимаю, люди весело время проводят.
The herbs here are Salvia divinorum. They have a slight hallucinogenic effect to emphasize this. This elaborate box must be for the ritual dagger. This oil has a slight aroma of flowers. The ointment smells mouse-like. I presume it is an aphrodisiac prepared from a Spanish fly. The sign reminds me of the astrological symbol for Mars. This one looks like a twisted symbol of Venus, drawn in a hurry. A blunt-force trauma may have suffered an internal hemorrhage. This crude tattoo partially covers as slave branding. This golden handle has a bloodstain on it. The dagger is heavy and sharp, but lacks balance. This worm-like sigil has been drawn with his own blood. The victim has clenched the fabric so firmly in his fist that it's nigh impossible to remove it. The wound is deep. A precise strike reached the heart. He died right here. The pitcher is empty, but with puddles around it. Blood clots are adhered to the sides of the drain. Identical to the robes the guests are wearing. Props, decorations, and tools for a more detailed set. This is a different ritual.
How can anyone accept such behaviour?
A useful tool for a disguise arsenal. Handcrafted and luxurious cufflinks. There's also a note. For my Fabio, Manchos. The key is similar to the one that Vogel gave me. The key is similar to the one that Vogel gave me. The capital F on the key fob might refer to Fabio.
Would you recognise me in one of these? I suppose not.
Similar to the guests' robes, apart from the bloodstains.
Werner, care to explain what is going on here?
On nights like these, it's not unusual for some attendees to get a little exuberant. It's part of the appeal. Unfortunately, it appears things have gotten out of hand. Yes, some are more prone to bend the rules of morality.
That's murder. I doubt there's anything left to bend. Why did you not tell me immediately? We were chatting about trivial matters for some time.
If I'm completely honest, Sherlock, I've consumed a rather potent cocktail of substances. My attention slips and drifts. But I'm glad I thought to call for you.
You sent me a disguise.
Oh dear, did I? Well, since I found the body, Mr. Manchios has agreed that you can investigate the matter. I promise my mind will behave itself going forward.
All right. Pull yourself together, Werner. Mr. Manchios is the owner of the manor, yes?
And the host of Cordona's most memorable parties. He promises even the ugliest guest a partner for the night. And for the ones with more unconventional tastes, Mr. Manchios provides other services.
What a caring person.
You cannot begin to imagine.
How did you discover the body? In between guzzles of alcohol?
I was set to perform in a fecundity rite with Fabio and came to inquire further. It was a staged ritual where he was to play the principle of life.
And the rehearsal was unsuccessful?
Who knows? I found him alone on the altar, his blood dripping to the floor.
And then?
Then I called Mr. Manchios. He was panicking, so I told him about you. We left the room and locked the door. Then we were...
filling time?
Waiting for you was stressful. We indulged in some simple comforts. Overindulged, perhaps.
Were you well acquainted with Fabio, the victim?
Everyone knew Fabio, or wanted to. His beauty was the talk of the island. Too handsome to go unnoticed. He was magnetic. Fat wallets fought for the privilege of having him. He offered the pleasures of performance, and more.
When you discovered the body, was the door open?
No, it was locked. Oh, that reminds me. It's a minor detail, but the first time I came to speak to Fabio, I left without entering, having been unable to open the door.
You didn't have the key?
No, I had it. Don't look at me like that. I was mostly sober. I suspect there was a key in the other side of the door, blocking the lock.
That detail may very well be major, Werner. Well done. So you returned later only to find the lock was not blocked?
Correct. After an hour had passed, I tried again and was able to unlock the door. That's when I discovered poor, handsome Fabio.
What about the fertility ritual? There was something about Fabio being a principle of life.
Fabio was supposed to portray the beauty of life's origin. Flowers, oil... Not this travesty that seems straight out the Inquisition.
So this ritual is not the fertility rite. What was it meant to look like?
It begins with a woman lying naked in a flower bed on the altar. She represents Gaia, the earth. As I cover her in oils, we chant for the principle. As our calls reach a climax, Fabio enters and copulates with her. After he finishes, I stab her with a dagger. That part's just pretend, of course.
But the intercourse is not?
I did not expect you to be such a prude. Are you a virgin? It is nothing to be ashamed of, but it would explain the color of your cheeks. The fertility rite marks the start of our festivities. The principle of life is beautiful, intimate, essential. It must not be stopped.
Yet it appears that someone did stop it. What about the naked woman? Can you tell me anything about her?
Oh yes, Matista. She's one of Fabio's compatriots and a performer too. I haven't seen her today, actually.
The police remain unaware of this tragic event?
Some of them may be hiding behind their masks. They conceal many things. But we didn't want the authorities to create more problems. Besides, after a few cocktails, their incompetence will have soared to new heights.
How do you know I even want the case?
I promised you relaxation. If there's one thing I know about you, Sherlock, it's that nothing soothes you more than a good mystery.
Что, и все?
Enough cigars to burn down the entire mansion.
Интересно, вроде я здесь была, а пропустила.
Blood. A sturdy bottle met a not-so-sturdy human. It didn't break only because it was unopened. An open wound spoiled the carpet.
За подушечкой ничего нет.
Why don't people tidy up after themselves?
Здесь вроде все. Все осмотрели.
You've got a lot to do, Sherlock.
О,
The wounded person was here for some time. A bloody handprint on an armchair. Similar to the guests' robes, apart from the bloodstains.
и...
A person leaned against the doorframe. They left a smudged trail of blood. There appear to be no further traces leading to the altar.
So, Sherry, do you have any ideas about the case?
Perhaps. I think I can deduce what happened here.
Ну, тут явно нож был. Что, наверное, нож. Попробуем.
You're not even trying,
Еще бы.
Sherry. Concentrate.
The bottle was used as a weapon during a scuffle in the smoking lounge. Then, to ensure no one would interrupt, the murderer locked the door. The unconscious body of the victim was moved to the altar room. Once the body was on the altar, the murderer thrust the dagger into the victim's heart. Symbols were drawn with the blood. The wardrobe was used to hide the bloodied robe from anyone's eyes. The killer washed himself and took a clean robe from the hanger before leaving.
Are you all right? You're on the floor, not moving.
I think I know what happened here. I'm starting to put the pieces together.
Fabio was stabbed.
I see nothing gets past you, Werner. Yes, he was stabbed, but only after being knocked out in the next room and placed here. I do not yet know why.
So, who's responsible?
Well, it was one person working alone, and the murderer has now donned a robe. He or she could be hiding in plain sight. We have lost time, Werner, but your discretion may prove to be a benediction after all.
Пока все. У убийцы был ключ. Значит, это владелец дома. Кто это может быть?
I'm so excited about the event.
Попробуй найди его, Ломанчес.
All there's beauties. Manche's is the best, as always. I need a rest from my insatiable wife.
Не ты?
Hey, Ansel, I see that look in your eyes.
Oh, I heard the finale will be splendid.
Уже это выяснил.
Let me see that stallion up close.
Excuse me, just one question.
Excuse me? What? I'm not sure I know. Oh, I heard the finale will be splendid. All there's beauties. Manche's is the best, as always. I'm so excited about the event. All those beauties. Manches is the best, as always. Oh, I heard the finale will be splendid. I'm so excited about the event.
My husband thinks I am playing bridge here.
Excuse me, just one question.
Excuse me? What? I'm not sure I know.
The murderer had to have access to this room. After the crime, he used his own key to lock the door. So, who had the key to the altar room?
I'm not sure. As a special guest, I was provided one by Mr. Manchios. He should be able to tell you of any others.
Where can I find him?
Most likely in the main hall, entertaining his guests. He has a mask with golden stars. You can't miss him. But please be discreet. We don't want to risk disturbing the revelry.
Ну, теперь, слава богу, хоть понятно, что делать. Вот он.
Kurt Manchios, I presume. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, you must be the one Werner told me about. What a sweet voice you have. It must belong to a handsome young man. Can I call you Sherlock?
As you wish, Mr. Manchios. Mr. Vogel asked me to help you. The body in the altar room requires answers, and quickly. I suspect the murderer to still be here.
What? Lower your voice. I don't want anyone to hear us.
Did you know Fabio well?
People are starting to look at us, Sherlock. Change the subject. I can't believe what happened to him. To me. Such an atrocity. Think what it means for me. A wonderful evening for so many good, influential, and rich people has been ruined. I have betrayed all my promises of exotic delights.
I don't understand. Surely a murder would affect your reputation to a greater extent.
Please, isn't this why you are here? I thought you were a silent magician. Do your tricks and make it go away.
I need to find all those who had the key to the altar room. As far as I know, Mr. Vogel, Fabio, and you had access to it. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Also, Matista and Santos.
Santos? Who is that?
Santos Pinchetti, my major domo. In his opinion, at least.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might have a private conversation with them?
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere, and Santos... Oh, yes. He will be busy with the servants. Or the cook. What's that noise? What's going on? Freeze, filth. You're under arrest.
Накрыли нас. Да уж, вечер удался.
Committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand, and apologize for the inconvenience. Your Grace.
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thanks to some bigwigs who work for the so-called good of the country by releasing fleas like you. Thank God we have Vogel in this letter. Once I get to that goldfish, I'll...
Bigwig? Oh, my wretched brother Mycroft and his long nose.
Wait, did you say Mycroft? Mycroft Holmes? Are you the youngest son of Violet Holmes, rest her soul?
You knew my mother?
Not personally, no. Not exactly. I was working on the paperwork for that case.
Would you happen to remember anything of the events?
Well, I didn't make the inquiry, but I remember seeing some notes. Why?
You must help me. It would mean a great deal to me if you could find any information about that day.
Huh. Got you hooked, right? You know what? Stark and the others think they're the smartest here, thanks to you. Let me get this straight. Are you listening to me, lad?
I'm all ears.
Take this case. Report to me only, to Constable Harvey Oswald. I'll leave everything I have on this table. Find the murderer. Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing, give me something substantial.
And if Mr. Vogel is not a suspect?
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away from here. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon. Meanwhile, I'll be checking the archive for you. If anybody asks, then you're a consulting detective.
Let's make a start then, partner.
I'm glad we managed to get the scoop before the raid. Look, I found Werner.
Да, конечно, жестоко их там всех избивали. Судя по трейлеру.
Werner, are you all right?
Oh, yes, yes. Everything's fine. In fact, it's something of a family reunion. My brother spent quite some time in this place himself.
You should not be here. I told the police everything I knew, but they refused to let you go. They require proof to free you.
Ha! What did you expect? The mighty Sherlock Holmes swans in, tells the officers what to think, and the world obeys?
Of course not. Anyway, I struck a deal with the constable, and I've got a free hand in the investigation. I find proof to solve the case for him. He obtains files about my mother's death for me.
Well done. If one has the power or will and can act, then one must. I wonder, suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the guard that enabled my freedom, knowing my innocence? Would that not be just?
There are lines I will not cross, Werner. I will do my best to secure your release, but with proof, not deception.
Really? How many white lies have you told on this island? Why not for me? Why not another?
That is absurd. I can resolve this without compromises. Do not give up hope.
Неплохо так нас поймали с орудием убийства. Похоже, что это он. Написал это письмо, чтобы обелить себя. Смотрим.
Back on track to solve the case. Good day, Mr. Manchios. I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained boors. Although I don't mind meeting young officers, the new blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the boars again.
That voice. Werner's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy after all.
I need to examine you first.
Наверное, вот это.
You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones can be so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient, or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
An expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties. assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true labourers, I see.
I've no idea about that. You'd better ask someone else. You'd better ask someone else. That's not something I know much about. That's not something I know much about. I've no idea about that. I've no idea about that. I've no idea about that.
Чисто по порядку все.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protégé and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him. I've no idea about that.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police.
Не знаю. Ладно, пока оставим.
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
Fabio knew the risks. Selling his body to degenerates who hid behind robes and masks, it could not end well.
That's only your distorted understanding of safety. Officers here, they wear robes and masks too. It's a dangerous lifestyle. But it's not as though we were given many other choices.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
You have both old and new scars. Some from the time when you were a slave with Fabio. Other scars have a different origin. The guests pay good money to torment you?
I am skilled in giving pleasure, but I don't participate in such practices.
I thought your body was...
For sale? It's true. Many unwanted things were done to my body. And the pain helped me to discover...
Occult deities? Yes, the tattoo speaks loudly of it.
Yes. Your gods abandoned me, and the ones I favor now are more protective of me.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, to Cordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite, sometimes.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
Переоденусь.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
Would you like to report a crime?
Good day. Your ticket, please, if you want me to help you. Don't waste my time. This is not a ticket. Don't waste my time. Don't waste my time. Don't waste my time. This is not a ticket.
I'd like to check the evidence from this case.
And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah, a ritual murder. What a bunch of degenerates. Wait a second. I'll bring it to the table.
A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner. It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone. All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings. That's not for bedtime reading. This ex libris belongs to Manchios Library. The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. Her key to the altar room. Not the time for privacy. An emergency kit for boredom. Werner's personal sketchbook. Thank you, officer. This book, The Power of Love, Blood and Mandrake, what do you hope to achieve?
To learn more about the invisible strengths that govern us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night when Fabio and I escaped, I made him fall. I cast a spell on him and it worked.
Or was it a coincidence?
The universe is rarely so lazy.
If you say so.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I've nothing to add. I've nothing to say. I don't know what to say.
This is the letter the police found in Mr. Vogel's pocket. Fabio wrote it. Do you know anything about it?
I don't. Although I can feel Fabio's energy. It's there, but it refuses to let me analyze it.
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world? Sometimes to survive. I have the gift, and I'm learning to use it better.
Did you use your gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms lately. Fabio became so distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought.
So, the police found a letter from Fabio in your pocket?
I cannot tell if it was truly in my pocket at all. Perhaps it was placed there later.
Well, that is one hypothesis. If it were true, then how did it get there?
No clue. But this night has been rather eccentric. Such a detail could have easily eluded me.
Indeed. Do you recall reading it?
I can't remember that either. But I tend to respect privacy. Reading others' personal notes is not one of my perversities. I can't follow you here. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I can't follow you here.
I have learned who told the police about the crime. It was Santos Pinchetti.
Do I know him?
The major domo of the manor. He cleans up after you?
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him.
You'd better ask someone else.
Do you recognize this book? Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you performed?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism and voodoo. My rituals are a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures.
I've read this letter from Fabio. It had no addressee, but it was found in Mr. Vogel's pocket.
Werner? Strange. I didn't think the two of them corresponded.
I'm sure there is some explanation. Would you care to read it?
Call me superstitious, but I don't care to read a letter from a dead man.
Где только этого Сантоса найти? Столько улик. Нужно допросить, где он. Ага, в архив. Идем в архив.
You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer. You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer. I've nothing to say about this. You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer.
Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
As a major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him. Stay here. They brought him in, Mr. Holmes. Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you. Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness, sir. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds. You are the major domo of a rich mansion, and you seem barely able to afford decent clothing. You hide under heavy makeup a skin disease that might be treated with more onerous but less harmful means. Do you have money troubles?
I do not have a lot of means. The pay is below what you might expect.
But you could easily change your job if your employer does not meet your elementary needs.
One can change his employer, that is true.
And the blood on your shoe, where does that come from?
I don't actually know. Perhaps from a guest?
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always Fabio-centric.
And Batista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests, unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose.
I recognize the key from the altar room among these.
Вот урод. Чисто урод.
Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a major domo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle. And I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love, cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a major domo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship.
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protege wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high. That's not something I know much about.
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him.
Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchios?
Oh. That could be. I never thought Mr. Manchios could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios. Clients who are in love are both a blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchios.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchios?
not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchios.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it. Though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for...
You being on a bender?
Touché.
I've nothing to say about this.
This letter proves nothing. Fabio wrote it to Mr. Manchios. It's time to free Mr. Vogel.
Do you really think I'm that naive? I need proof, not words from his friend.
Very well. Mr. Pinchetti told me that Mr. Manchios was lavishing Fabio with expensive and eccentric gifts. The letter mentions rich rewards and attempts to buy Fabio with them. It was written to Mr. Manchios. Who else was showering Fabio with luxuries to buy him? It doesn't fit Mr. Vogel's character.
Look here. We had a deal. Give me the murderer and then take your friend with you. I won't budge otherwise.
Well, fine, but you're just wasting time.
I'm busy. You've already used up your quota of me helping you.
Не, ну этот чувак мне, конечно, не нравится, но повешение это уже чересчур. Давайте это выберем. Или... Или еще посмотрим. Нет. все-таки обвиню того старика.
Continue our investigation while I look at the papers.
The murder of Fabio did not have a ritual purpose, Mr. Manchios. It was staged by a man who wished to distract the investigation.
That might be true. That poor girl Matista wouldn't dare to kill the only man who cared for her. So, Santos.
Mr. Pinchetti snatched at the chance to solve his problems.
Ungrateful little scum. Will he be executed?
But what for? He informed the police as to the crime, that was all. He couldn't stage the ritual, but he found the body, I believe.
I can't believe it. Why did Werner do it?
Mr. Vogel. He had no reason, and he won't be a scapegoat as you plan. You put Fabio's letter in his pocket when he was intoxicated, didn't you?
You can't be serious.
You're at the twilight of your life. You have no partner, you have no children. You had feelings, however, for one man. That was Fabio. You loved him. That is, you wished to own him with money and gifts. But he was also a free mind, was he not? He turned his back on you. Quite unjust. Love, so cruel and painful, and Fabio, with his words and deeds, made you feel the more wretched. So you killed him.
You must surely perceive that my sensitive nature wouldn't allow me to hurt anyone.
We can very often deduce someone's life by their shoes or their fingernails. You are a meticulous person, but this murder was fairly traumatic and filthy. After you stabbed Fabio, you were covered in blood. You panicked and neglected to rinse the soap from under your fingernails. The devil is in the details, Mr. Manchios.
Nonsense. I missed it simply because of the busy schedule of the party.
Of course, a staged murder was certainly not planned. You staged the murder as a satanic ritual. It was easy for you since you were the one who wrote the scenarios for the parties. It was your way of avoiding suspicion. A respectable man in his 60s,
early 60s,
who hosts the cream of Cordona's society, cannot possibly be a murderer. But the guests who behave like animals in his mansion, of course, one of them could have killed Fabio.
I did oversee a few of the rituals, but I did not stage Fabio's death.
Fabio played with your feelings. That was painful to realize. You spent so much time and effort to be with Fabio, but he didn't respond in the way that you would have liked. You wanted to be loved, but Fabio shattered your dreams. In the smoking lounge, he teased and mocked you. He wanted you to suffer by offering himself to others. The deception was unbearable. You were passionate, and so you struck him. Once you understood your mistake, it was too late. You were afraid, so you staged the ritual. With such a story, you might be sentenced to a few years. It might clean your conscience, and soon the case will be forgotten.
No. No.
This is my decision. I'll talk to Constable Oswald to see what I can do.
Так, ну я так понимаю, что сейчас мы предоставим нужные улики, и нам дадут какие-то зацепки по поводу смерти мамы. Может быть, это уже продвинет нас к концу. Вот туда.
There's no fool like an old fool. Kurt Manchios did it. A young boy played with the heart of an old man. The latter couldn't handle it. The evidence I obtained clearly shows that the quarrel was not intended to end badly. It was an accident.
Showing pity towards your own kind, Holmes. whatever.
All I'm saying is that prison won't take much away from an old and crushed man.
Fine. A big name like that will still give me a promotion. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them. Then I remembered. The discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones. Including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case. Everything I've found is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable.
Все, квест выполнили. Сейчас, наверное, пойдем к Фогелю. Если его еще не выпустили оттуда. А, его уже, кажется, здесь нет. Да, выпустили.
I'd weep if I had any tears left at all.
Oh, you did it, Sherlock! The case is closed and all rewards belong to the winner. Bravo!
It is merely the triumph of the truth.
Is it? No compromises? No lies? You're happy with your decisions?
It was the best decision I could obtain. The truth must be told in the way it is most acceptable.
You're making progress, Sherlock. I was right to believe in you. By the way, did you get that precious information about your mother? Oh, not that you must.
Yes, I did.
Forgive my intrusion in such a personal matter. I simply worry I'm failing to be of much help to you.
Actually, you were. For some reason, all the archives on the case had disappeared. This was a rare opportunity to obtain the impossible.
Outrageous. Perhaps someone found the truth unpleasant. Society usually rejects those who speak with too much honesty, doesn't it?
A comfortable lie is often preferred to an uncomfortable truth. Still, I believe that the latter should prevail, and I cannot remain silent.
That's quixotism at its best. Your mere truth cannot defeat institutions, systems, and power. Etiquette, religion, marriage, they're all lies told to preserve connections, love, and sanity, and it's all corruptible.
Lies destroy human dignity. How could you make a free decision without any knowledge of the truth?
Are we really free to decide anything in this world, Sherlock?
Oh, yes. It's a struggle, but yes, we can make our own decisions. That's what I fight for.
And what an endless fight it is. Will you ever give yourself a break, Sherlock? You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but constantly lie to yourself. How long until the train comes off the track? I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident waiting to happen, dear. Until then, I shall bid you adieu.
Так, в архиве. Идем в архив.
Garden. There's a garden behind our manor. How could I forget? That's where it all happened, where it all went wrong.
Sherry, it looks like you've almost found what you wanted.
особняк. Может быть, там открылась новая локация.
Sherry, please listen to me. Sherry.
John, I always listen to you.
You don't have to do this. You don't have to go through. I don't know what is beyond this door, but I can feel it. Buzzing, angry, like a fly at the window.
I know. I can sense it too.
You locked away this memory for a reason. There is only pain here.
Pain? And truth.
You do not need to suffer either. There is so much more we can do on Cordona, so many others we can help. There is no coming back from this.
John, my anima, my brother, there is nothing more important in this moment than this truth. I know you fear for me, but my path was set long ago. I can no more step off it than I can ask the avalanche to roll back uphill.
Just please be careful, Sherry. I love you.
Quite. Come on. We'll go together. Why didn't I remember we had such a big garden?
Maybe you forgot it for your own good.
Ah, yes. The statue of Merope. My mother was trying to restore it. Pity she never had the opportunity to finish. That's from Mother's favorite tea set. What is it doing in here?
Тут, оказывается, надо идти.
Come here, Sherry. Hurry!
These must help calm her down.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right? What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
Откуда?
Don't go, Mother, wait. I remember this artifact from Mother's collection. Mother's work journal. I liked poring over the detailed pages and reading about my parents' collection.
Here it is. We'll just borrow it for a while.
Did you hear that? Someone's coming. Let's take a peek. You call this progress? Charlotte, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
Any result is progress, even if it is a worsening of her condition. It informs my...
No. I have made my decision. She must be sent to a legitimate medical facility. I will not let her hurt Sherlock.
What? Master Holmes, you do not understand.
That will be all. I expect you to have left the house by week's end.
Sherry, say something. Can you hear me? You're scaring me.
Sherry, come here, darling. Sherlock, I'm here. Come closer. Sherry, come here, darling.
Coming, Mother. This was for my mother, wasn't it? I remember how we came to the garden for a breath of fresh air.
Take me to my flowers, Sherry. They must already be in bloom.
As you wish, Mum. I bet you missed the fresh air, didn't you?
Terribly. The sun is far brighter than I remember. But I like it.
We can walk each day from now on, if you want.
That would be wonderful. Just look at them. The stars of the earth. Even the sky must be jealous of their beauty.
Indeed. Mother, would you like to go around the water?
That would be perfect. I always wanted such a nice pond in London. It looks so peaceful.
Mycroft knew you would like it.
We should put some fish in it, don't you think?
How about some carp?
That's a nice idea. Let's visit your father's tree. It grows so fast, just like you.
We could even build a tree house in it.
Yes, Sherry. Speaking of your father, could you call him out, please?
Mom! I'm sorry. He passed away. He's gone.
No, he's not.
I'm telling the truth. Did you forget again?
No, don't you dare say such things. You are a liar like all the others.
Mother!
Don't call me that. You aren't fooling me.
No! Mom, it hurts!
My son would never lie.
Reveal yourself! Please stop! It's me, Sherlock! You are not my Sherry! Give me my stuff, I can't tell you!
Ой, ничего себе. Ого. Получается, Майнкрафт убил ее, застрелил. А ну другое что-то попробуем. Нет. Нет. Мне кажется... Мне кажется, это...
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me? Come on, wake up.
Get off me.
Sherry,
You knew, and more than that, you hid it from me.
you couldn't bear the truth, Sherlock, so I shouldered it for you. I took your pain, your horror.
I killed my own mother, John. It is unforgivable.
It was an accident, Sherlock. She was mad, abusive. You were a child, simply trying to help.
How could I? How could she? You were a lie, John. A fiction. A crutch.
No, I was a friend. Sherlock, please.
Sherlock?
What?
Are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come, Sherlock. Where is he?
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all of this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way, he was trying to protect me. A truth I couldn't bear. But now I must face it. There is only one thing to be done.
What are you talking about?
To expect adherence to the principles of truth and justice, but to fail to hold oneself likewise accountable, it would be hypocrisy. My mother died by my hand. I must turn myself into the authorities and face the consequences of my actions.
The consequences of your actions? You were a child. She did this to you, not you unto her. You are throwing your life away in an act of moralistic vanity. Think of all you could accomplish for our nation.
This is where we differ, Mycroft. To you, the ends justify the means. To me, the means have decided the end. The truth is the truth.
Fine, Sherlock. Walk yourself into the police station and pray those men you oft embarrassed hold no grudges. If you're lucky, they'll simply exile you. If not, I'll see you in 20 years.
Он же реально это сделает?
Are you going to berate me too? Try and talk me out of it? As I told my brother, if I cannot demonstrate the character I chastise others for lacking...
Sherry, I think this is something you will have to do yourself.
Myself? How do you mean?
All I ever did, all I ever wanted, was to protect you from what happened. And now you tell me I was wrong to try, that it was ego or hypocrisy to show a young boy kindness. But it was just empathy, creativity, and love for one's self. So please, please, Sherlock, don't do it.
Why can none of you see it? The truth is the truth. A murder is a murder. Tell me, John, why?
Because you're breaking my heart. I know you've decided. I know. I just wish you hadn't.
I'm sorry, John. All these years we spent together, all the time I took for granted. You'll always be a part of me.
No, Sherry. That's the point. I don't think I will.
Why are you here?
Closure, I suppose. And to help a friend.
You and I are not friends. In a race between the thawing of the ice caps and our friendship, I would buy a boat.
Ha! Is that right?
I can see it now. I know what you did.
What did I do?
You needled me. From the moment we met, you were searching for weakness. You pushed me to pursue the truth about my mother. You questioned everything I did, everything I believed, to break me. To blur truth and fiction, reality, morality. A saboteur in silk. Was it vengeance, Werner? Or do you prefer Klaus?
Excuse me?
You are Klaus Richter, Otto's younger brother. Do you hold me responsible for his end?
Ha! There was no love lost between me and my brother. I am sure you can relate. Otto was merely the gravity that pulled me into your orbit. Or you into mine. Once I met you, I could not keep away.
Why? What reason do you have for all this?
To help you.
You're lying.
To show you that you were wrong.
More lies. I know you now, Werner. Try again.
To see what had happened. Or is that yet another untruth? Does it matter? Take your pick. Who cares? You're my masterpiece. I turned Sisyphus into Ozymandias. You could not see the futility of your quest until I helped you to let go of the rock. And now, nothing beside remains.
I remain. Despite you and to spite you.
It is a matter of will and power now. Will you overcome this, or shall you decay? Oh, on that note, I brought you something.
I want nothing more from you.
When one wants for nothing, Sherlock, the best thing to get them is something personal. So, here you are. Now, please excuse me, but the gallery calls. I'm already conceiving my next project. You really are beautiful.
I was prepared to take responsibility for my actions, but again my brother conspired against me. A little diplomatic pressure and the trial was dismissed. Instead, I was exiled from Cordona. Freedom never tasted so bitter. Another perversion of justice at Mycroft's hand. With no means, no home, and no purpose, I returned to London. I enrolled at Cambridge University, but few lectures held my interest. I prefer to spend time alone at the hospital laboratory, pursuing truths in chemical form. No one there questions my choices. I have begun to attract a desperate clientele, men that skulk after me pleading for answers to their simple mysteries. At first, the distraction was unwelcome. Now I find myself craving it, lest my mind drift back to the island, to Mother, to John. What was her life worth? How many adulterers and petty thieves will it take to make it right? Can anything? I found it! I found it! I found it!
And what is that?
How far, bruises may be produced after death. How are you? You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive.
How on earth did you know that?
Never mind. The question now is about bruising. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine.
It is interesting, no doubt, but practically...
Why, it is the most practical medico-legal discovery for years. Had we these data sooner, hundreds of men would have paid the penalty for their crimes. Cases oft hinge upon how a man died. Now, we can know which wounds he suffered alive, which occurred post-mortem, and what instrument was responsible. And ergo, one will soon be able to calculate with utmost precision when and where death occurred, sparing the innocent and damning the guilty.
Huh. Then you are to be congratulated.
Indeed. But, you came here on business.
Correct again. I am looking for someone with whom to take diggings, and heard you were complaining that you could get no one to go halves with you.
I have my eye on a suite in Baker Street, which would suit us down to the ground. You don't mind the smell of strong tobacco, I hope?
I smoke ships myself.
That's good enough. I get in the dumps at times, and don't open my mouth for days on end. Just let me alone, and I'll soon be right. What have you to confess now? It's best for two fellows to know what bruises each other carries before they begin to live together. My last companion and I...
Well, I object to rows because my nerves are shaken. and I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours, and I am extremely lazy. I have another set of vices when I'm well, but those are the principal ones at present.
Do you include violin playing in your category for route?
It depends on the player. A well-played violin is a treat for the gods. A badly played one.
Oh, no, that's all right. I think we may consider the thing as settled. Oh, forgive my manners. My attention wavers. Sherlock Holmes.
Dr. John Watson.
John.
Вау, ну все, кажется, мы прошли эту прекрасную игру. Почему я говорю прекрасную? Потому что концовка, конечно, сделала все. Такое чувство, что вот в эти последние полчаса разработчики внесли все самое такое интересное, что они держали в себе и хотели оставить для нас. На протяжении всей игры, да, не скрою, было ощущение, что где-то недоработано, вот особенно боевая система, она, конечно, очень, немножко примитивная, как на мой взгляд. Еще и глюки вот эти вот, которые мы наблюдали на протяжении прохождения игры, или это проблема в моем компе, или в настройках, в общем, неважно. Сам сюжет, конечно, в начале просто неплохой детектив, то есть неплохая игра, идет очень плавно, очень интересно, да, в середине где-то ты уже разбираешься в прохождении в целом, и она уже идет проще, как бы легче, и уже не так раздражает, то есть ты не чувствуешь раздражения из-за того, что ты там что-то не понимаешь из-за какой-то ерунды, то есть которую ты там не прикрепил или не открыл или еще что-то. И, конечно, уже после середины, вот когда особенно идешь по основному квесту, уже более интереснее, то есть ты больше втягиваешься и не замечаешь времени. Но опять же, повторюсь, это концовка с Джоном Ватсоном и то, что как он похож на того Джона, на того воображаемого друга Шерлока. Это очень классно они сделали, просто отдельно, конечно, отдельный благодарность, низкий поклон это композиторам, потому что музыка тоже в игре на высоте. Очень тему под каждую сцену, просто она продумана, написана идеально. И опять же, да, концовка, ну я просто не могу, ну просто супер, просто супер. И да, тут, конечно, вот этот жирный, классный намек на вторую часть. Что ж, я жду, я думаю, так же, как и все, потому что очень интересно посмотреть, чем оно закончится, чем продолжится. Как будут Джон Ватсон, именно этот Ватсон и Шерлок Холмс взаимодействовать друг с другом, потому что это как бы их первое знакомство, и как они будут вместе проходить вот эти вот миссии детективные, и как там пишется Джон. Вот, так что, конечно, да, в целом моя оценка, если меня попросили оценить игру на 8 из 10, да, и в большей степени, конечно, за счет этой концовки. Очень классно. Мне, конечно, я в восторге, под впечатлением. С удовольствием пройду вторую часть, хоть сейчас, вот если бы она была. Так что все, большое спасибо, что были со мной в течение всей игры. Оставайтесь, потому что дальше будет еще больше интересных игр. Пока!